Hello there, music lovers. How are you doing? Welcome to Full Record Jacket with Phil and sort of back in civilization, Ben. You spent a week in bed, dude. How are you doing?
Did it for peace, dude. No one's done that before, so I thought I'd give that a try.
Yeah, you thought you'd give peace a chance,
I
did you?
thought I'd give peace a
Yeah,
chance. Turns out, didn't work. What a waste of time that was. But yeah, I had the national press round, cameramen round. So it was a good way to spend a week.
yeah.
Sweating. So I'm not 100%, but I'm back. I even grew a beard. Didn't grow my hair long though. So yeah, so anybody watching, peace. What's it good for, eh? Was that war? Don't
So
know.
you've got that's the reason for the scarf, really, because you're still maybe a little bit
I'm a little
having
bit
to keep
throaty.
yourself warm.
I'm a little bit coffee, so I may, um, if I if I'm quick enough, um, which my partner will probably say, yes, you are. If I'm quick enough, I will hit the mute button when I'm about to cough.
Let's
So,
hope you're quick enough.
but yes, yeah. So I had a week in Bedfields to listen to literally no music apart from that behind me, um, and the Flaming Lips Soft Bulletin album. That was about it. And then you sent me a playlist, which I did play when I went out on Friday to get some cold tablets. Not tablets that are cold, but, to help. So, but yeah, it's been a pretty somber week, if I'm honest, Philster. Haven't bought any vinyl. So it's had its benefits. Well,
So,
it's had its benefits on my wallet.
yeah.
So, yeah. Uh, Yeah, so the scarf, full of cold. Merry Christmas, everybody.
I sent you the playlist about being in bed, didn't I? Which,
You did, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I thought while I was in bed, I'd come up with some brilliant ideas for the show for next year because obviously we've failed miserably in this year's task of finding our favourite album of the 1990s. Um, Mainly because I've been poorly. You've had some personal issues. Which has just meant that time has run away from us, hasn't it? So
it ran off, but I think January is going to be the month, isn't it, for sorting out the 90s?
yeah, because nothing happens in January, does
Nothing
it?
happens whatsoever, nothing. So we're going to do that knockout tournament, find our favourite album of the 90s, and then we're going to probably go on to the 2000s.
Yeah, the 2000s. That's going to be an odd one because I thought, because when we first muted this idea, I thought, oh, I don't think I liked any albums in the 2000s. Then I forgot you got the Strokes, Arctic Monkeys, you got the Snow Patrol. There's so much. There was that sort of Kings of Leon, Kasabian, Killers, 3Ks. You then got things like Razorlight, even though they're not. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of music. There's a lot of rubbish as well, if I'm going to be honest. But there's a lot of music. I am going to see if I can mute my mic.
Thankfully, he did find the mute button for that cough.
Yeah, to be fair, me coughing is probably the most interesting thing I'm going to say today. So,
So, yeah, the 2000s, not as bad as you might think.
no,
There
no,
was, we must remember, there was rubbish as well in the 90s.
there was. I mean, we did the one-hit wonders of the 90s, Phil. Check those videos out. And, I mean, Lou Bega, that's the Cheeky Girls. I mean, were they 2000s or were they 90s? 2000s,
I,
90s?
I don't remember that I don't think we've covered the Cheeky Girls. I think they were more the
So they must be
2000s, maybe.
2000s. Last Ketchup. I mean, what the hell were they all about? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you go, Philster. 80s, 60s, 70s, noughties. There's always going to be a fair amount of absolute twallop. So that's my. Is twallop a word? I think I've just combined the word wallop and tripe into one word.
Tripe and Codswallop together, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I've
Twallop.
done. I've
I think
invented a
that's
new
good.
word. See, a week in bed has paid off, Phil.
Twallop
You
is
say
it's a good one. I like that. Yeah.
twallop. Yeah. Well, if that doesn't make the top 5 English dictionary words by next year, I won't be happy. In fact, I'll go out and twallop someone.
It's got to be as good as some of the ones they put in there, and probably as frequently used, to be quite honest, by most normal people, to be honest.
But I'm very
So,
normal. Ask my camel Steve. Isn't that right, Steve? Yeah, exactly.
so you wanted to discuss Christmas songs?
Well, I thought, well, since it's a festive time, I I I I was watching something the other day, and they're having a right go at one of my favourite Christmas songs, which I don't think is that bad. Now, can you guess which Christmas song it is? I could give you a clue.
Okay, so this is one everybody knows, obviously.
It's one
Well, really,
everybody knows,
yeah.
and it was released in possibly the greatest year in history.
Okay, so I think I can pretty much zero in on exactly what that is now.
Yeah.
So the greatest year, in your opinion, must be the one you were born. So that was 1979.
Whoa, 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 Philip.
Yeah,
Back off the mic slightly.
yeah,
In my opinion, I
yeah.
think you'll find, in everybody's
Oh,
opinion,
it's objectively correct, is it? It's not just an opinion. Yeah, okay.
beginning of history,
Yeah,
up to March the 5th, 1979, dark, dark place where light didn't exist. People lived in the gloom, in the forever of darkness, never able to escape and find the light. March the 6th, boom, lights on. Yo, I'm here.
okay. So I
Yeah,
think it's got to be a
go on.
song by one of the most successful songwriters of all time. And would I be right thinking that?
You would be,
And
thankfully, not Adele.
I think that it's Wonderful Christmas Time.
It is wonderful Christmas time. It gets real. I didn't realise how sort of many people don't like that song. I actually kind of
Yeah,
quite like it, and depending on how you sing it, it can be quite a somber song as well. Because
yeah, you could do it somber, couldn't you? I've not heard it done that way, but I guess it could be done that way. But I'll tell you what I think about it. Um, when I don't really remember my first memory of the song. I think it's one of those that you felt like it had always been around.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
of course, I've always known. I didn't sort of. There wasn't a moment at which I got into Paul McCartney really, because Paul McCartney
you've
was kind
been
of
in Paul
always around.
McCartney.
He was always around, you know. So I remember hearing Wings when I was a kid, and hearing obviously the Beatles records. I don't know exactly at what point I connected the fact that he was the same guy, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure at what point I became aware that the guy singing on Eleanor Rigby, which used to slightly scare me as a child.
Yeah,
But at what point I realised he was the same guy singing Mull of Kintyre. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, um, I didn't pay it a huge amount of attention when I was getting more and more into music as a teenager. I think I considered it to be not very good. I considered it to be a little bit twee and an example of Paul at his most twee.
yeah, because he
But
does have a tendency of being twee
he can do that, But
very,
I
very
do it.
well.
I do enjoy a lot of Paul being twee. I enjoy things like Honey Pie and Your Mother Should Know and all that kind of thing. But um, over the years, maybe it's familiarity, maybe it's age, whatever. Uh, I've grown to appreciate it more. But I think, as I was saying to someone the other day, I was talking the other day to a rock fan who, obviously likes the Beatles and likes classic rock music. He's not keen on the song. I said, I think it maybe works better if you listen to it in the context of the McCartney 2 album,
Yeah,
which is what it came out of, because the album was Paul on his own experimenting, using some synths and things, and
Yeah,
doing these sort of homemade songs. And that's what the three McCartney titled albums are. You know, the 1970 first solo album, McCartney 2 and McCartney 3 from more recent years. They all had that thing, didn't they? It was entirely self-produced,
yeah,
entirely him playing all the instruments on them. And so it's kind of, if you accept that it's not supposed to be, it's kind of the opposite of John Lennon's Happy Christmas War Is Over, which was calculated to be a big production, which I like as well. It was
yeah. Because it is
calculated to
very
be,
minimalistic, isn't it?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
very
I
sort of
mean, the
minimal.
John Lennon one, John Lennon was really basically making another Phil Spector Christmas record. It was produced by Phil Spector, and it had
Yeah, yeah,
everything on it, all the arrangement, everything. So it was made, I think, to be like that. Whereas McCartney's one is a homespun little ditty,
yeah,
if that
yeah.
makes
Which
any sense.
because I think didn't it get re-released or didn't it get put on part of Back to the Egg re-release in '93? Wasn't it on there?
It may be. I know it's on the more deluxe version of McCartney 2 that's
Yeah,
now
yeah.
available.
See,
It's on there.
I have a distinct memory of that song, and it would have been around the time of Walking in the Air. We're walking in the air.
Yeah,
And I remember one Christmas, it would have been around, so 84, 85, so I was about 5 or 6. And we're at our next door neighbours, the lovely Nev Walkers. And I have this abiding memory. Now, it could be a false memory, but I have this of watching the snowman. And then there was another programme on afterwards, because I'm sure it was on the BBC, and it could have been like a Top of the Pops or something like that. But that song was on, and I do have a thingy memory of that's possibly the first time I remember hearing it. It was probably on before then, because obviously it came out in the greatest year known to humankind. But 1985, 84, 85, I think, is the first time I really have a distinct memory of it. And I like the simplicity of it. I think that's what makes it, and when I sing it to myself, I remember as a sort of a early teenage years or late, sort of before I became a teenager, I do remember being a little bit, because you know what it's like when you're that age. You build yourself up for the Christmas times. Everybody loves the Christmas times, especially at that age. And I just remember singing that song because I was a bit sad that Christmas Day was over, and just singing it to myself quite slowly. And that seems to have stuck with me. So every year I do sort of sing it, and it can be quite a reflective sort of,
no, I
track when
watched.
you sing it that way.
Yeah, well, it became. Noel Gallagher did that with the Slade song, didn't he? Really, he kind of
Yes, from the Royal Family. Was that 1999?
made it a bit more
98,
of
wasn't
a somber version, of a somber, reflective, sort of almost melancholy version of
it?
the
Yeah,
song.
yeah, yeah,
But McCartney, of course, he's been doing these gigs recently, and he's been performing at the O2.
yeah.
And the other day, I didn't watch the video of it, but he has had Wonderful Christmas Time in the set list during December, and there is a choir of children involved, as in the lyric. So I've not seen that. I did see a clip on Mary McCartney's Instagram of the choir of children rehearsing, but I didn't see the actual concert version of the song.
No, I've not
But
seen it. I've seen quite a few clips that people have uploaded to the interwebbing.
I don't know whether Paul McCartney has performed the song at his concerts before. I've not really looked into that. Maybe
No.
he has done over the years, maybe during December. But as far as this is the first time I've really been conscious of him putting it in the set along with all these big
Yeah,
classics.
yeah.
I presume it probably goes down quite well at the concert because everybody knows it, and it's just they just layer on all the Christmas
I think that's the beauty of it.
effects.
It's its
Yeah.
simplicity. And
I
I do like the Lennon one as well. I really like the Lennon one.
Yeah, it's the bit where he sings the choir of angels sing the song. That sort of bit, I kind of
Yeah,
quite like how that works. Is that
yeah.
the bridge of the song? Is that the middle eight, or is that? Or it's just part of the. I think that's is that the bridge of the song? The choir
I
of
think so.
angels
Yeah,
sing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
um, I, yeah. It's just I think it has grown on me to the point where I now like the song. And there was a time where I thought it just had this sort of. I thought it was a bit naff, and I now have embraced it. I think if you go with it, you can simply have a wonderful Christmas time with that
You
song.
simply can. And if
But
that means not listen to Mariah Carey, then brilliant.
yeah, I actually I know people also hate the Mariah Carey one. I think the downside of the Mariah Carey one, I heard it on the radio the other day. One of the downside of it for me is the intro where she sings "I haven't had a love this," it builds up, and
Yeah.
she's doing all the ooh, or she's doing all the Mariah
Do
Careyisms
that
with her
again.
with her voice, the all that stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
She's doing all
Elvis.
that. Yeah, she's doing all that wavery vocals and singing lots of notes, and then it kicks the little Christmas percussion or keyboard
Yeah,
kicks in,
yeah.
and then the drums come in, and then it comes really up tempo, and then from that point on, when it gets up tempo, it sounds to me like almost like a sort of it could have been done by the Supremes in the '60s.
Yeah, yeah.
It has a '60s edge to it. I quite like the '60s style of it, and
yeah.
it's the intro is a little bit annoying, but when it gets going, if that song had been done by the Supremes in the '60s, I think it would be considered a classic, and people wouldn't hate it as much as they hate
Because a
it.
lot of
But they
people
hate
do
it
think
because
it's a
it's her.
cover version, don't they?
Yeah, a lot of people hate it because it's Mariah Carey. But I think if it had been done by someone else, maybe they wouldn't hate it so
And
much.
I'll say it again, and I think I've said it on here before, but if you turned up to Mariah Carey's house and she has said that all she wants for Christmas is you, and you turned up and she was like, huh, "Where's my present?" and you went, "Here it is, 6 foot of it," and she wouldn't be happy. I mean, looking at Mariah Carey, she doesn't look like a lady who's going to be happy if all she's got for Christmas is this.
Is the boyfriend, and he hasn't brought a designer handbag or
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
else.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. We're sort of, stereotyping Mariah Carey to being slightly materialistic, but I'm just saying, if you turned up and went, "Yeah, I put a lot of effort in this year." Oh yeah, what did you get me? Well,
It's me.
it's me. And she would not be happy. So the song's full of rubbish. A bit like the Band-Aid song. That's full of rubbish. Do they know it's Christmas? Yes, they do. They've got calendars. They're not
Yeah,
stupid.
I must admit, I've never actually, oddly enough, I've never actually analysed the lyrics of the Mariah Carey song to that depth before. And it's possibly true. How many girls are there that would be happy if the boyfriend turned up and said, "I haven't got you anything, I've just got me"?
Yeah, yeah. Hi, like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that
So,
wouldn't
but
go
no, I
down too
do.
well.
I must admit, I'm a bit of a humbug with Christmas because I'm a stickler for. I hate the fact it starts in September and anybody putting a Christmas tree up in October, November. I've got to watch what I say here, but they should be undrawn and quartered as far as
Yeah,
I'm
I agree.
concerned.
I do agree with this. I don't think the song should be on the radio till December,
Yeah,
and I'm not sure the song should be played anywhere until December.
it's the
I
12
think.
days of Christmas, not the 3 months of
Well,
Christmas.
I think the only excuse for having a tree up in November or playing the songs in November would be on those occasions when the first Sunday of Advent occurs in very late November.
Well,
Like
yeah,
I
then
think
we'll allow that.
it can occur on the church calendar for the last couple of days of November some years. So I think on that basis you could say it's Advent, so then it's kind of Christmas season, so you can have a tree up. But apart from that, it
No,
shouldn't be going up at any time before that.
no, exactly, exactly. But I
Yeah.
have in our office we have had Christmas heart on, and I must
Oh,
admit,
I bet. How many times have you heard Wham now?
do you know what? I haven't. I only heard Wham on the radio the other day, and that's because I was listening to the football commentary and it was played in the background in the stadium.
That's
But
interesting.
Wham's
So
last Christmas, It's a
You
great
listen to.
Christmas song.
I thought that it is a great song. I would have thought that it is a very well written song. Is it? I'm surprised you haven't heard that on Heart Radio. Though I thought that would have been the song for Heart
Well, it
Radio.
may have been on, but I may not have been in the office at the time it was on.
Right.
E17 gets played a lot, which isn't a Christmas song. It just got released at Christmas. It's track 5 on the Steam album. So
don't they put? Hasn't it got bells on it though? Christmassy
it's got
jingly
bells on it. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's it then. It's a Christmas song.
Yeah, but Noel Gallagher's got a song on the filler tracks he did from his best of. What's it? That's got bells on it. It's not a Christmas song.
Why do you put bells on it then?
Bells are a year-long round thing, Philster.
I suppose
when the church starts ringing it bells in July, you're not like, oh God, God might, bloody half the year's gone quickly.
No, okay.
When your headmaster used to ring the bell at break time, you weren't like, oh God, Christmas.
No, it's the jingly type bells that don't normally appear in anything apart from a Christmas song.
Well,
but okay, you'll have to send me this Noel Gallagher.
I'll send you. I can't remember the track off the top of my head, but it does have very much a sort of, I think Coldplay released a single with bells on once, and that was sort of mid-year time, and everybody was going, "Oh, it's a Christmas song." And it's like, it's not a Christmas, just
because it's got bells.
I mean,
okay.
Oh, do you know what it is the anniversary of though this week? It's 30 years since Oasis released Whatever.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, Christmas number 3 in 1994.
And on the B side of that were
It's good to be free.
It's good to be free, and is that what the Royal Family theme song is on?
Half the World Away.
Is that on there?
Yeah.
And then hasn't it also got a track off? Has it got Slide Away on it?
Yeah, I think it has. Yeah, yeah.
So it maintained the tradition of having 3 tracks that are not on an album.
Yeah.
But they didn't give you a 4th one because they gave you a track off the first album.
Yeah.
I don't think it was it was the same version of Slide Away, wasn't it? It wasn't a different take or anything.
No.
I think it's the album version.
No,
so
they did do a live version of Live Forever on one, don't they?
Or isn't that on Roll With It? I don't know how I know this.
I should know. My brain's slightly fuzzed. B-sides were Half the World Away. Yeah. It's good to be free. Yeah, Slide Away. It was. Yeah, just yeah. So,
I think the Roll With It single had It's Better People and Rocking Chair and
Rocking
live
Chair.
version.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it's better people love one another because living a life can be tough. Anyway, we're on about Christmas songs. Has there been a modern day Christmas song that stands up against the rest? Because it seems to me that a lot of we got to about 1983, 84, and then Christmas songs stopped.
What about the only ones I've heard recently that are after 94?
After about 84.
After 84, okay.
84, 85. That seems to me the golden era of the Christmas song.
The 70s and the 80s, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's a lot from the 70s, isn't there? There's quite a few from the 80s. There's Chris Rea, Shakin' Stevens. You still hear those songs a lot, don't you?
That's a great track, the Chris Rea one, Driving Home for Christmas.
Yeah, so they're all 80s.
Driving Home for Christmas.
From the 90s, yeah, not as many. The Mariah Carey one obviously gets heard a lot, but I can't think of... Are there any others from the 90s that get heard a lot?
Chocolate Salty Balls. That was Christmas number 1.
That was a Christmas number 1. Okay. I can't think of another one. I've put that E17 one, but I can't think of another one from the 90s.
The noughties, you had Don't Let the Bells End, didn't you, by The Darkness?
I was going to say that, The Darkness, that gets aired a lot.
Yeah.
And also, the one I heard the other day, do you remember the Leona Lewis one?
Yes, because Heart plays that
I bet they love
lot.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's again, that is one that has become established.
Yeah,
Was that in the 2000s?
it must have been. Yeah.
Um,
Late
so
2000s, early 10s. I would have.
that's in fact that's the most recent one that I can think of that was a hit on the pop charts that has now become an annual one that you keep hearing. I
Do
can't
you
think of
think?
another one.
Do you think me and you should record a Christmas single for next year?
I suppose if two people can do a song about sausage rolls and get to number one at
Yeah,
Christmas, then maybe anything's possible.
we could do one about wigs. Last Xmas, I gave you some hair, but the very next day it faded away.
We could,
This year, to
yeah.
save you from tears, I'll give the wig to someone special.
If we had 3 million subscribers, maybe maybe it could be number one. But
Maybe that's what we should do for next year. Last Xmas. Let's get Last Xmas to Christmas number one.
you never know. Anything is possible on the pop charts.
Didn't do the mute button, did I?
No,
So yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Paul McCartney track really because I think it's treated a little bit unfairly for its simplicity. I think there is a lot of goodness in its simplicity.
it has been. Now Paul has been given more respect, I think, in more recent times because there was a time when people sneered at Paul McCartney, wasn't there?
Yeah,
Or lots of people did. I think that's died down to some extent, partly because of his age and because his legendary status is now kind of obvious, and people are, not wanting to slag him off so much. But that song is still getting a bit of a whooping in some quarters. So I think, although it's everywhere, I mean, it's still being played. You still hear it in shops. You hear it everywhere, don't you? It's on all these compilations.
would it be in your top 5 Christmas songs?
It wouldn't for me, but I do enjoy it. What I like about that song most, I think, is it sums up Paul McCartney's positive spirit,
He is a very positive
and
man to the point
it
of almost annoying at times.
and it has a sort of it has a very much a family Christmas element, and he obviously, we know he was very much a family man, very
Yeah,
into being a dad
still
to his
is.
kids, and he did quite a few songs that I think were written from the point of view of writing songs that appeal to his kids or that kind of thing. So I think that's an element of it as well, because his children would still have been quite young at that time, wouldn't they? So
Yeah. But do you
I
think they
think
heard the frog chorus and went, "Dad, come on, Dad"?
he hadn't done that by that point, though, had he?
No, was that was early 80s, though, wasn't
They
it?
might have been a bit older by that point.
Ah,
Maybe they were starting to get rebellious by that point and said,
yeah.
who knows? But I think they probably would have enjoyed the Christmas one.
So what would be, if you had to, off the top of your head, top 3 favourite Christmas songs?
My favourite Christmas songs. There are some that I always like to have on every year. Every year, I tend to focus on a different handful, or one or two maybe, but of Christmas songs, ones that I've kind of neglected or I've never really focused on before, and I give them a proper listen, right? And I've done that over the years with various ones, and that's kind of been my song or songs of that particular year. But the ones, and the one, what did I listen to the other day that I'd never
You were
really
listening to Santa Baby, weren't you? Every different.
I did. No, I heard lots. No, yeah, we should go. Shall I admit to this one?
Yes, yeah.
Right, I heard the Eartha Kitt. I'll get on to my favourite ones because this isn't really one of my favourites, but I don't mind it. Now, this is another song that's Marmite to people. In fact, I asked two people.
Baby.
I asked two people, and they both told me that they hate the song, so they wouldn't choose their favourite version of the song. Okay. So Eartha Kitt did it. I believe that was the original version. And I think that was in was that 56? I think it was 50. I think it was in the late 50s. Right, I can't remember. I should know this, shouldn't I? Really. And I don't think it was covered by many people until I think it was 87 that Madonna did it, and she did it on some charity. I think it was for some charity thing, some album. Anyway, she does it in. Apparently, she was trying to be like Betty Boop.
Betty Boo.
So
she did try to sign Betty Boo, didn't she?
No, I'm talking about Betty Boop, the
Oh,
old
Boop,
Hollywood
as in the
character, the cartoon
cartoon.
character. Yeah. So she was doing it in the style of Betty Boop. So she puts on this sort of girly, cutesy cartoon voice, and so Madonna's version is kind of is a comedy version. And some people thought that she was trying to be like Cyndi Lauper, because you can imagine if you didn't know it was Madonna and someone told you it was Cyndi Lauper, you'd believe it was Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, because she is a bit bat crazy.
She's a bit. So there's that version, and then it seemed to become a kind of maybe I'm not sure 100%, but maybe it was Madonna that set the trend. She has done that with women's pop in other ways. And then there was a Kylie Minogue version, which I think has perhaps been played even more than Madonna's version. I think that's probably the best known version now, apart from the Eartha Kitt original. In fact, many people probably know the Kylie version more than the original. But it's been done by quite a lot of female pop stars since then. So Madonna and Kylie, I think, started the trend. And I heard the Eartha Kitt one, and then I remembered that Madonna had done it. And I thought I hadn't heard that for years. So I then obviously checked out the Madonna version. And then I thought, well, you know what? I remember that Kylie did it.
I'm at a loose end.
I'll have a listen to Kylie and Madonna, and I'll compare and contrast the versions. So I did that, and then I then thought, I wonder who else has done this song. So I started looking on Spotify. I'm just trying to find my playlist on here that I made. So I then found lots of other versions of it. So I added them to a playlist. And then one day when I was doing a bit of a gentle workout, keeping myself flexible, as you have to do when you get to my age.
To Madonna.
When you have to get to my age, you have to flex, keep yourself flexible, don't you?
Flex the beef.
So I thought, well, I'll tell you what, I'll listen to these different versions of Santa Baby until I get really annoyed and have to turn it off. So I started, and I found that I actually didn't get annoyed with it.
Really? I would have got annoyed by about the second track.
It was interesting to see the different ways they approached it and the different arrangements. But I tell you, most of them I didn't hate many of them. I was disappointed. Wasn't disappointed because I didn't really have expectations, but I thought Ariana Grande was not particularly great.
Yeah.
I thought people like Gwen Stefani and all those, they all did it fine. Can't remember who all of them were. There was a great big band arrangement on the version by the Pussycat Dolls. That's got a great arrangement, although because they're all individually singing bits of the song, it doesn't have that thing of it being one person's interpretation of the song, being a group effort. But ultimately, I can't say that anyone outdid Eartha Kitt.
I do like the Eartha Kitt version.
I can't say that there's one that was definitely better. Of course, I enjoy the Madonna one, and I quite, the Kylie one's fine, but in the end, it's still coming back to Eartha Kitt.
Well, yeah. So would that be one of your top 5 Christmas songs?
No, it wouldn't be. Oh. But I don't mind. I don't mind the fun nature, and it's an old school 50s. I kind of like old school stuff like that, and I quite enjoy the cheesiness of it.
So I do like the Paul McCartney one. I like the one about the World War I trenches.
Joan and Louis, is that the one you're thinking of?
Yeah. Wham's Last Christmas is obviously brilliant. The Pogues is obviously brilliant. And I really like Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
Whose version would you choose for that? Because that's been done by many, many people.
Elvis.
I don't think he has. He actually done it. I don't know.
He just has the first name that goes to it.
I tell you, there's a version that you might like. I've got a CD that came free with Mojo magazine back in the early 2000s, and it's got mainly it's obscure Christmas songs. It's got things like Marvin Gaye and the Staple Singers and a lot of old stuff, but it's also got a Flaming Lips track, which I think they recorded exclusively for Mojo, but I may be wrong about that. And it's got a version of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas by David Arnold, and the singer on it is McCalmont from McCalmont and
Oh,
Butler.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
and he does it very well. So I think you might like that version.
I'll have to give that a listen to. I'm just having a look at who's
I
recorded.
don't think you can stream that one though. It may
Ah,
be on YouTube, but it was done exclusively, I believe, for this Mojo
yeah.
magazine
Shock
CD.
horror. Michael Bublé's covered it. There's something I would never have expected.
Yeah, that's kind of what you'd expect, isn't it?
Keisha Cole, Tori Amos did an acoustic version of it.
She's covered a lot of songs, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not surprised.
So
at
yeah,
that.
they are some of my top favourite Christmas songs. I don't dislike a Christmas track.
Some of my ones are more obscure.
Rage Against the
I
Machine.
kind of, my favorite. I don't really count in those ones that were number one, but they're not Christmas themed. You know what I mean?
Like Chocolate Salty Balls.
Yeah, I don't even really completely count in. Well, My Luck Entire has that kind of campfire thing around it, doesn't it? So it feels a bit like a winter campfire song. That kind of gets away with it. But I don't really count, or do I? You know, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, The Power of Love. Is that a Christmas song?
Not really, no. Because that could be released any time of the year.
People just like it because it's about love, don't they? And whatever.
What about We're Walking in the Air?
I suppose because it's the snowman that kind of people think that's Christmassy, and he's singing it as a choir boy voice, so it sounds churchy. So that kind of fits in. So I kind of see why the snowman one fits in, but that wouldn't be on my top five. My actual top five, I hadn't really thought this through. Hang on. I'll tell you the ones that I play every year, that I have to play every year because I love them.
Can't believe we've managed to do 36 minutes on Christmas songs.
These are not necessarily well known, okay? Now, one of the first ones
Smack My Bitch Up by The Prodigy.
Well, it's Hey America by James Brown.
Nah.
Hey America, It's Christmas Time. You ever heard that one?
Nope.
Does it go,
Hey America?
You're very, very close to the intro to that. Yeah, that's pretty much how it starts. Yeah.
So I'm good. I'm good. I'm really good.
Okay. So that you've got to check out Hey America by James. If you haven't heard it, Hey America by James Brown. That is one that I would count as a favourite. Now, if you want to go for cheesy, I do, and I don't know why I like it so much, but it has to be this. I don't mind the song in any version, but this version I still like the most. And it's Mele Kalicamaka by Bing Crosby and the Andrews Sisters.
That's the sound I make if I do it my flies a bit quick.
Yeah. Which is the Hawaiian one, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Which many people know from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which I must admit I didn't know. I have to thank my friend Darren, who used to include this in his hospital radio show. That's how I discovered the song. I'm pressing something on my phone.
We just had a little bit of festive bells.
You just had some jingle bells. That was Frank Sinatra's version of Jingle Bells.
Jingle bells, jingle bells.
Which I enjoy, but would it be my favourite? I don't know if it would be in my favourite.
Jingle all the way.
Another one, I'd have to have a track from the Phil Spector Christmas album. I don't know exactly which one, because there's a few on there that could be contenders. Frosty the Snowman could be a contender. Darlene Love, Christmas Baby, Please Come Home could be a contender. But I do, for some reason, really like the Ronettes version of Sleigh Ride. That's just the way they sing Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ding-dong-ding. I mean, what else can you want?
I do know. I think I've got a Christmas album down here somewhere.
I think I'm going to have to... That might be up there. I
don't know where it is, but I've got the Carpenters at Christmas.
Well, I've got two... There's a couple of carols I'd have in there.
Carol Vorderman.
Yeah. Can you think of another one?
Carol Decker.
Yeah.
There we go, two carols. Woo!
Is that it? That's what you thought. Well, I've always really liked O Come Emmanuel. And the version I've got on one of my playlists is by Linda Ronstadt. There's also a good one by Sufjan Stevens, but if you don't, obviously there's loads of choir versions of that. Another one I like is particularly Sinead O'Connor's version of Silent Night.
I can imagine that's quite haunting.
It's a haunting version, yeah. It sounds exactly like you'd expect it to sound, right? So you can pretty much imagine that. Another one that I've got on my list is where have we got it here? Go on. Oh, the Carpenters. Is that their Christmas album? Oh, yeah.
It is their Christmas one, and it's
Is
got
one of your
O
favourites
Come
on
O Come
there?
Emmanuel on there, Christmas Waltz, Sleigh Ride. But I was going to get rid of this. I was going to give it to the local record shop, and then I put it in the Discogs, and it was worth about 20 quid. So I thought, no, I won't do that.
We'll keep it for now.
Yeah, but it's got Carol of the Bells.
Right.
Merry Christmas, Darling. I'll Be Home for Christmas. Christ is Born. Winter Wonderland. White Christmas. Silver Bells. It's Christmas time. It's got Silent Night on it as well. They do a version of Silent Night as well. So
now the other album that I put on every year, which is another divisive one, even among fans of the artist, and that is Bob Dylan's "Christmas in the Heart."
Which
I like, but a lot of people hate, even if they're Bob Dylan fans. But I like it. Now, my favourite on there, I think, is "Do You Hear What I Hear?" And I must have to say that Bob Dylan's version of "Do You Hear What I Hear" is one of my favourite songs for Christmas Eve. And I make no apologies for that. So that's up there. But I think ultimately it's going to have to come down to my favourite Christmas song that I can think of right now, unless another one hits me. I'm going to say it's The Band with "Christmas Must Be Tonight." That's it, and those are the ones that I always play. I'll tell you what's another good one to play this time of year, although it's not really a Christmas song. It's a jazz one, and that is John Coltrane's "My Favourite Things."
Okay. Well,
even though it's from The Sound of Music, so it's not really Christmas, but it's kind of Christmas because it's. I
did listen last year to Rob Thomas in 2021 did a Christmas album. I did listen to that, and to be fair, as Christmas albums go, it's not that bad. It's not Michael Bublé. That's a good thing. So, yeah. Christmas.
I'll tell you something about Michael Bublé. A lot of people really. Where do you stand on Michael Bublé?
On his head.
I think I've got a kind of mixed.
He's like beige paint, isn't it?
I think what I do like about him is that he's kept the old American standards alive.
Yeah.
He's kind of kept people hearing the old American standards, and I like that aspect of it. And he's got one or two. He's got a good version of a good arrangement. Voice. Anyway, he's got a perfectly good voice. He's Mr. Smooth, if you like that kind of thing. He's got his version of what's the song? What's the song that he does a version of? "Cry Me a River."
Oh, right. Justin Timberlake.
No, the old one that was done by what's her name? Julie London.
Right, okay.
Right, the old 50s song. He's got a version of that. It's like a big band arrangement.
I think I've heard it. I have heard that song.
Yeah, it's a different arrangement, and it's kind of good. I quite like the way he did that because he did it differently. But anyway, I don't have anything particularly against him. He's just an entertainer to me. But I must admit, although I don't normally have a real problem with Michael Bublé, I did have a bit of a problem with him the other day when I was in Sainsbury's. And
was he in there? Did he get the last bag of sprouts?
Well, it was just the fact that there were people. I was in this particular Sainsbury's. There were people everywhere taking stuff off the shelves, filling shelves with all sorts of stuff
that shops filster
that they don't really need to be buying. You know what I mean? It was just getting a bit crazy. And I was getting to the point where I was thinking, I need to get out of here because I can't stand being in here anymore with this Christmas bollocks. And then at that moment, I heard Michael Bublé's voice singing in his most cheese, as cheesy as he gets, singing have a holly jolly Christmas. At that moment, I was just like, no, that's just awful. I couldn't.
And
That was
17 people died at Sainsbury's that day because of Phil getting angry. They were speared to death with sharpened Brussels sprouts.
Beaten with a baguette. Yeah.
Michael Bublé or Harry Connick Jr.? It's got to be Connick Jr. every time.
Harry Connick Jr. had a little bit more cool about him, didn't he? Slightly,
he did, yeah.
Ever so slightly. I've only ever heard his first album, but
he's in a film Copycat, if I remember rightly.
Bublé went to. I think Harry Connick has gone. He's carried on making records, and he's sort of not chased the mainstream, has he? Really? I think he's just carried on in his jazzy genre.
Yeah. So
whereas
Michael
Bublé,
there, Michael.
yeah, Bublé definitely went more towards the pop thing, didn't he? For sure.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that he isn't a talent, and he's quite capable of making a good record. I don't have a problem with the smooth guys. You know, I perhaps because I grew up hearing a lot of that style of thing. You know, Bobby Darin and Andy Williams and Dean Martin and all that kind of the lounge lizards or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm a bit more open to it than some people, but he can go too far over the cheese line at times.
Yeah, the cheese line. Imagine if you were in the cheese aisle when that came up. Well, imagine if you were on the milk aisle, it'd probably turn it to cheese. I wonder. I just imagine Michael Bublé. You go around to his house, and he's just got Michael Bublé playing 24/7, 24/7 Bublé. I reckon. I think that's
He's one of these people. I kind of have to admire it in a way because he's been so successful, and he has become like an icon of that genre, hasn't he? Yeah, he's become just iconic for it. It's like
Cheese Master.
It's like your mate James Blunt. He's the American easy listening version of your American smooth version of your mate James Blunt.
Are they the same though? Are they?
No, not the same. They've got the same. They trigger the same kind of reaction to me.
Yeah. I get that one. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's become kind of fashionable to just go, oh god, sneer at them.
Yeah. So we could put into that pot Bublé, U2, James Blunt, Coldplay,
and Paul McCartney's "Wonderful Christmas Time."
And yes, which brings us nicely back round to where we began.
Yeah.
Simply having
there you go, viewers.
Christmas time.
Do you have any Christmas guilty pleasures that you'd like to share with us? Any ones that you have to play? Which songs do you have to play every year? That's the question. It's not just what are your favourite Christmas songs or which ones do you like or hate. But let us know, are there ones that are essential for you to hear and it's not Christmas if you haven't heard them? Let us know in the comments. In the meantime, if you're watching this, we will post it in time, so we will wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Have a very lovely Christmas, everybody, and may you not get Michael Bublé albums.
And have a Happy New Year. All the best. Bye for now.